I want to try and give you a bit of a sense of some of the things that you can discover about rich client apps in terms of the way they communicate with the server. So I'm going to give you a few real-world examples. And the first one I'd like to show you is the Foxtel app. Foxtel is a cable television provider in Australia, and they have an app that looks just like what you see here on the screen at the moment. It has some program guide information, and it allows you to then select content that you'd like to watch on the device or schedule it to be recorded on your cable TV box. So here's what I've done. My iPad is now connected to Fiddler, and it's going to proxy the HTTP requests so that we can see how the app is talking to the server. Let's jump back into Fiddler, and what I'm going to do now is on my iPad, I'm going to start up the Foxtel app. Here it goes. We'll see all of these requests coming through. And here's the thing that I really want to show you. This app is making an absolutely huge request. Look at this one just here. It's over 2 megabytes. Now that is a ginormous amount of traffic. But of course it begs the question, why does this matter? Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, again, it shows us that we can intercept those requests and see how the device is talking. But it matters that this one request is over 2 megabytes and it's being made by a mobile device. A device that will often be chewing through expensive and limited mobile bandwidth. That's significant, 2 meg, just to load it. We haven't even watched anything yet, and there goes 2 megabytes off our plan. But in the scheme of bandwidth-hungry apps, this is actually not that much. Let me show you what I mean. Here's the Evo app. Evo is a fantastic car magazine, and they've got a beautiful iPad version that you can load out of the newsstand. This is what it looks like when it loads. But let's have a look at what it's actually doing in the background. We'll jump back over to Fiddler. Let's clear those results. And now I'm going to go and open up Evo magazine. Let's have a look at what we get out of this one. Here comes our responses. What we can see now is that we're getting quite a number of very large requests. And in fact, just on that, let's look at that last request, number 65. Still going, still not loaded. Okay, there it is, it's loaded. And in fact, that was a 4.5 meg request. Look at this one, over 8 meg. If we select all of these, and we go up to statistics, and in fact, even more have loaded in the background, so we'll select all of those. Here is over 15 megabytes worth of data required just to load that app. That's ginormous. Let's see where it goes. We'll just stretch this guy across a little bit. Let's sort by body size so that we get our largest ones up the top. Let's look at the content type. We've had lots of zip files come down. So clearly there's a whole bunch of content that might be accessible in the magazine which has already been zipped for us. But again, what it means is that if you're out and about using your roaming data plan, you're going to chew up more than 15 meg just to open the magazine. Let me give you one more example. So this time I want to show you the Red Bull magazine. And I don't want to keep repeating the same thing here, but I want to show you something that helps us understand a little bit more about where the inefficiencies are going in the way our mobile apps communicate over the internet. Now this time I want to show you what's going to happen in the slide here before we actually jump over to Fiddler. So when the Red Bulletin magazine loads, this is what we're going to see. Fairly typical. The last few editions with a number of thumbnail images. You can click on one of those thumbnails and it will blow up like so. It's about that big on the device. So that's what we're going to do in this exercise. We're just going to open the magazine and then click on the thumbnail. Let's go and do that now. So we'll jump back to Fiddler and we'll clear all these results. And now let's open up the magazine. As usual, we will see a whole bunch of requests. We can actually see a 404 request in there as well, a page not found. So that's another little bit of insight. Things like 404s are very inefficient. The client sits there making requests that it really doesn't need to do. Let's go and find that image that we saw just before. We're still sorting by size. If we scroll just across a little bit, we can see that the content type is image, PNG. We might select that first one, and then we'll go to our inspectors. And let's have a look at this in image view. Okay, so that's the one that we just saw on the screen. Now this is only 1024 by 768 pixels. The iPad is a Retina device. It's a high DPI device. So you may actually want a fairly high resolution image, even though the physical dimensions are quite small. But look at this. It's a PNG. And because it's a PNG, it's blown out to over 1.4 meg. That's huge. If this were turned into a JPEG and it actually had some compression in it, you'd take about 75% of the size off this image. Same goes for all these other big images up here as well. All of these are PNGs. There's a couple of JPEGs down there, but these PNGs alone are totaling over 10 meg. That's huge. You could probably shave somewhere around about 7.5 megabytes off these just by using a more appropriate format for the content being loaded into the device. And again, that's 7.5 meg of someone's mobile data plan that you're potentially blowing by building the app this way. So all of this was a little bit of a diversion from security per se, but it starts to give you an idea of the sort of things you can discover about how those rich client apps you see on your device are put together. We're going to use these simple little investigation techniques throughout the rest of this course, the main difference being though that we're going to start using it to find security vulnerabilities. Before we do that though, let's look at how we can make our life in Fiddler just a little bit easier by doing some basic filtering, because as you can probably see here, we're getting a bunch of other requests that are popping up that really have nothing to do with the actual app that we're investigating. Let's go and do that now.